Hello, and welcome to the Longbox splash page. I wanted to do some mini episodes to cover some topics we wouldn't normally cover on the regular pod. So I thought I'd create these kind of like little, what we'll call splash page episodes, which will only be kind of a few minutes long and to discuss things that are kind of a little bit more up to date than waiting a month or so to kind of cover them retrospectively on the pod. First of all, I just want to apologise for the sound quality. I'm recording off some makeshift gear. Our regular stuff is in our base of operations, the Longbox cave, if you will. The topic of today will be the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 trailer that dropped today. Caveat up at front, I'm with the majority of people that think that the first film is relatively shit. I say relatively shit. I know this film gets like a big slamming, even though it perplexes me. Yes, it is bad, but I think of things like the Transformers franchise, which has been given a pass and is allowed to, prosper into this like 10 film franchise or however many Michael Bay has got planned. Yet the Ninja Turtles, is absolutely panned by everyone. Where I think compared to something like the Transformers, the first Ninja Turtles is a lot cleaner. Set pieces are ridiculous, but still you can watch them, unlike the Transformer movies. Just want to point out up front that this new Ninja Turtles franchise is, I don't know, it seems to be going more upon the 80s cartoon and the Nickelodeon cartoon, like CGI cartoon that's out at the moment, rather than the original comics. I think the first 1990 film, or whenever that film was out, is kind of, I hear it's quite rigid to the first original story, probably why it's the better film. But this one seems to be not really following that and it wants to take cues from the cartoon that most people know and love. Right, so on to the trailer then. So it starts off with an Avengers style portal opening in the sky. I know a lot of people have made the joke that this film is opening like, or this trailer is opening like the Avengers, the portal. And the first film had the ending from Amazing Spider-Man, sorry, not Ultimate Spider-Man, from Amazing Spider-Man, with the, ooh, let's gas the city, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of this, ooh, they like to rip off Marvel. Yeah, I agree with what they're trying to say, but however, the original Ninja Turtles does have the I've heard places that it's kind of based, it's kind of a parody on Daredevil, where the origins is a kid almost gets hit by a truck, but the truck flips over and the ooze on the truck triples down, onto the turtles to create the turtles, and instead of fighting the hand like Daredevil does, they fight the foot. Okay, it sounds like I'm clutching at straws, but you're going to love this shit when the Deadpool movie is this meta, I'm sure. Right, so out of the portal, we then see some Tetris pieces kind of falling out. I think that's the best way to describe them anyway. They're kind of like metal, jagged, angular things. No idea what they are. It's weird that the Ninja Turtles, based on the first film, it's weird that the Ninja Turtle film is going this way, or sequel is going this way. However, I see a lot of people online and say that this is probably the Technodrome, Krang's Technodrome, bits of that, and that kind of that fits for me. That looks like that's what it is. And if I was a betting man, I would say that that's what's going on in that scene. That perhaps, I don't know if it will happen at the end of the film or we'll start with that, but I reckon at one point we'll see that Technodrome bit getting built, which I'm quite excited because I enjoyed I was of that age to enjoy the cartoon, so to see that live action will be absolutely great. We then get some shots of the turtles themselves. They've got their high tech weapons, which still is ultra dumb. Like, I don't know why we can't just stick with the normal weapons. I don't know why Donatello's stick needs to extend. I understand it kind of helped in a semi set piece in the first film, but I wish they kept the weapons clean. But hey, we've got these dumb weapons back. But I think the turtles do look better. I mean, some of them look a bit smaller. They don't look so ridiculously big. They're lighter green. They look more cartoony and a little bit more easy on the eye. And I don't know. It looks like they've kind of corrected the lips a little bit. They don't seem to pucker so much. They seem to be not beak-like, but smooth, like the original cartoon. We then get to see the Foot Clan. Again, these guys look better than, the last time around in the first film, but I really love the original look from the 1990 film. Red and kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, the metal fly eyes. I wish we could go, that imagery is absolutely fantastic. These guys are kind of like all black kind of ski masks. So, but I wish we could go get a little bit more similar to the 1990 one. Hey, maybe in the third or fourth film, or fifth or sixth. I don't know how long this is going to go on. Okay, onto the Turtles van. We get a shot of this. It looks straight out of our toy box from when we were a kid. Even launches the manhole covers. At this point in the trailer, I kind of have to question the change of tone from the first film, but that gets bulldozed later on in the trailer anyway, so I won't focus on that too much. Also, my toy didn't have a stereo blasting out Run DMC like it does in the trailer. Not too sure who this film is for, actually, when I see references like that. Is it for the 30-year-old who was a fan of the original cartoon, or is it for the kids that have the toys now and who love the Nickelodeon CG show? I'm not too sure who the audience is for this anymore. I don't even know if it ticks either category. Right, moving on. Casey Jones. This guy was my jam when I was a kid. Watching a show about four turtles meant there was no one to relate to when I was a kid because I wasn't green and a mutant. So I really enjoyed having Casey Jones as a character in the original cartoon show, with someone to kind of be like, that's cool. Is kind of a human, like the fifth member of the gang. That could be you. Also, the idea of him using kind of sports gear meant that like his weapons and his arsenal was accessible. So as a kid, you're like, yeah, I could pick up a baseball bat or a hockey stick, and you could then it was just an easy to emulate superhero. So I'm really glad that they brought Casey Jones into this. It's played by Stephen Amell as well, which fan favorite. We all love him. This corner of the world, geek community is all up for him, and I think he looks really great in the trailer. The hockey mask is great. There's all sorts of weird things they can do with it, but they kept it simple but still effective, I must say. Like, you can go too simple, and I think they got the look of this character spot on. Megan Fox's tits also show up in this film. For some reason, there's a shot where she undoes her blouse and then tightens it up, and great cleavage shot. Okay, Shredder is also being recast in this trailer. I say in this trailer, in this film. Really don't care, but you never get to see him with the mask on. I hope this doesn't mean that he's also always going to be maskless. It just doesn't have the look of Shredder if he's not wearing the mask, unfortunately. I don't mind it off occasionally, but I hope he suits up a lot more than this trailer suggests he's going to. Tyler Perry is that Baxter dude thing, the fly thing from the cartoon. Okay, great. He looks kind of cartoony. I assume they wanted a character more annoying than Michelangelo in this film, so that's what's going on. It kind of again, it makes me kind of question the tone because it doesn't feel real worldy anymore. Not even that the first film did, but this feels like we're going a little bit more like the Tobey Maguire / Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, where it's kind of in this pseudo weird hyper reality. Because this guy looks like straight out of a cartoon. On to the main event. Bebop and Rocksteady, you get to see them in pre and post change. Of course, they're CGI creatures, not too much more you can do. This isn't the film really to be bitching about CGI. This is the way they decided to do things. But I just feel in general that, I don't know, there needs to be some sort of CGI police for films. We've just seen Doomsday and I'm not too impressed. It's almost like you need to qualify or apply to use it. Almost like, look, we've tried it other means, we've tried going down other routes, but then this is the only way we can do this. Please, 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 can we use CGI? Because it just seems like readily the easy thing to do. Good job we're talking about this film, really, because the best example of what I'm trying to say is like the Jim Henson puppets from the original Turtles movie. That looked absolutely great. I know it wouldn't hold up now, but we're 25 years on. Maybe there is some animatronics that can do the job that we're too ready to go CG, or maybe a hybrid. So the facial expressions and the close-ups are all done like that, but then we can kind of give it a CG skeleton, so it kind of moves CG, but like facial expressions and maybe hands on the close-ups are done animatronics. I don't know. This isn't the film to complain about this. This is how they decided to do the original, a la Transformers, and we're stuck with it now. But as it goes, Bebop and Rocksteady look great. They look straight out of the cartoon. I don't think anyone's going to complain about the design. They move okay. This isn't a film that wants to win, best visual effects at the Oscars. And it's a cartoon anyway, as we mentioned about the Tyler Perry character. Rocksteady, For those who are playing at home, the Rhino gets a really cool scene where he stampedes at Casey Jones. He has cars, flying around as he Casey's skating between the cars, running away from this stampeding Rhino. I think it's a great idea that he gets a set piece to do this. I was kind of concerned that they would not use him in this way, that they would just be henchmen or just kind of characters in that way, rather than abusing the fact that these are giant mutants that can, destroy the city if they wish. And to see scenes like this means that, well, I feel it looks like they're going to use these characters correctly. Will Arnett is back, which I'm glad about, because he's basically the best thing about the first film. He was kind of the voice of the audience. He was the one being like, "This is dumb. This is a bit stupid," trying to keep everything focused. I noticed that there's no Whoopi Goldberg in this trailer. I hope that means there's no Whoopi Goldberg in the film. I have no idea why she was cast or what that was about. It kind of made the whole film the Megan Fox / April O'Neil film featuring the Turtles rather than a Ninja Turtles movie. The film ends with a shot of Rocksteady. It looks like they're in the water. I'm not too sure what's going on, but Rocksteady in a tank firing a bullet at the Ninja Turtles. This is the kind of thing I was concerned about, was doing elaborate set pieces like that, that to echo the one from the first film where they're skiing, that ridiculous one where they're going down a ski slope towards the city. I say ski slope, it's a mountain, but it might as well be a ski slope. I think they should be using the two, Bebop and Rocksteady, to emulate a set piece like that, rather than kind of doing this ridiculous thing with a tank. But whatever, that's what this film is. In conclusion, this trailer makes the film look a lot more light-hearted than the first one. It's got a few more jokes in there. The characters look like they're probably easier to stomach this time round. Ultimately, I imagine the film would be just as shit, but in fact, I'd bet a lot of money on it. But this trailer is, I don't know, less offensive than the first film at the moment, and it has a lot of fun moments. We got a Bebop and Rocksteady. We can kind of get excited to see if Krang's in there, etc. The Turtles seem to be on better form. However, I will be watching this film through gritted teeth, because I imagine it's going to be awful. Okay, I imagine it won't be long until we do another one of these. I think the X-Men Apocalypse trailer drops soon, so we will either wait for our regular scheduled show to do our review, or perhaps do a little kind of a little episode like this, another splash page. Okay, until next time, I've been Doug. Read more comics.